Good morning. It's a little bit after 11, so we're going to go ahead and get started. On the right hand of your screen, you'll see a Q&A section, question and answer. If you'd like to ask a question during the broadcast, please feel free to type it in. I'll most likely answer it verbally. If it's something that I cannot answer, I will respond after through the chat session to you specifically. It also gives me your name so I know who to contact. And I believe I have all your email information as you've logged in as well. So if you do have any questions, please let me know as we go along. Again, today's topic is escrow responsibilities. What is the sales associate's responsibilities? How do you make sure that you're in compliance with the FREC regulations? And what's the difference if you're using a title company or attorney to hold your escrow deposit? So we're going to move along here on the first screen. Having a little technical difficulty here. It doesn't seem to want to move. If you just give me a minute here. I'm going to pull up the first screen. I apologize. Oh, it's not cooperating, so I won't be able to have the full screen up. We'll just move along as it shows now. Escrow deposits. FREC, which is the Florida Real Estate Commission, says that a sales associate has 1 day, 24 hours, and I think if you check with your office regulations, a sales associate has 24 hours to hand over an escrow deposit to their broker. The same should hold true when you're dealing with a title company or attorney in handling escrows. A broker has 3 days total, 2 full business days after the day the sales associate receives the deposit. So you want to always make sure, number one, that you are in compliance when handling checks from your particular buyer and having it to either your broker within 24 hours or at your title company within that 24 hours. Again, the broker, and every office has slightly different regulations and rules, so I would definitely check with your office to see, do you hand in the check to the broker within the 24 hours and the broker sends us the escrow deposit, or in fact, do you hand it over to the title company direct? So please also be cognizant of that and be in compliance with your particular office regulation, as most offices are slightly different in handling. So you want to, if you remember back to your licensing and pre-licensing courses, you have 3 total days to hand over the deposit to your title company. I'm going to move down to the Trident title, and we will post the forms that I'm discussing and mentioning here today at the end when we post the webinar. We have an escrow deposit form if you're working with a buyer and you're in a county in which seller picks title and we are not doing the closing, we're simply holding the escrow deposit. You would fill out this form. It's a 2-part form. You would give us the buyer's name, the property, subject property address, your information and contact information of the parties. The bottom half of the form is designed to when we're dispersing the monies, and all parties must sign. If we're dispersing the monies to, and we'll talk about this a little bit more on the next screen, if we're dispersing the money to a title company or attorney who's closing the transaction, the step will be slightly different. At this point, I want to move to the title order form and contract. And again, we'll post these forms after so you have reference. Some of you may already have them. But the title order form, if we are conducting the closing and the title, then you would fill out this order form as well as a copy of the contract along with the deposit. The disbursement authorization, again, is the second half of the escrow deposit form. And I'm just going to flip to the next screen here. The escrow is the word escrow means to hold in the benefit of another party. So the earnest money deposit is escrowed into a third party, new to a third party escrow deposit. And I want to talk a little bit about, I'm skipping around, I apologize, default and releasing monies. Title companies and attorneys are not regulated by FREC when it comes to releasing money. So I will give you what our requirements are to fill out the bottom half of the escrow deposit form. If the contract is not being executed and moving forward, in other words, the buyer has backed out or the seller has backed out, then we need all parties to sign. We need a release of the contract and a direction in which to send the deposit monies. We rely on you as a professional to tell us how to handle those deposits, at which point you do not have to contact FREC if there is a disagreement because we are holding the escrow. So a lot of companies appreciate and like to work with the title company or the attorney because there's less compliance on our end. We are going to direct that deposit and release the deposit pursuant to your instructions. So also be sure and check with your broker that in fact if you are releasing a buyer's deposit as a default of the contract to the seller, please be sure that you are properly handling this. Again, it does not have to be approved by FREC. You do not have to have an escrow order. I think they call it the escrow disbursement order. You do not need that when dealing with a title company or an attorney. Again, just you want to make sure that in fact the performance of the buyer or the seller is in compliance with the contract and that you have directed us to in fact disperse those monies properly. Again, the disbursement or authorization is on the bottom of the form, and we'll send that out after. I just want to reiterate that you should by 3 business days have the deposit to the escrow or title company, and attorneys and title companies have no regulation over the escrow disputes and or disbursement of those monies. If there's any questions at this time, I would be happy to take them. Otherwise, it's a pretty straightforward webinar, and it really concludes at this time. I'll give you a minute to see if there's any questions, and then we will exit the program. Thank you for joining us, and just a reminder, every month on the first Tuesday at 11 a.m., we will be circulating the topic for next month. And thank you for joining us this morning.